Hello, everyone. Welcome to the DMV Business Show. I'm your host, Otto Sevilla, and today I have a very special guest for you. We have Florent De Felcourt. Florent is the founder and CEO of Fresh Baguette. Welcome to the show, Florent.
Thank you. Thank you, Otto.
Thank you. If the audience doesn't know what Fresh Baguette is, if you can just give them a general overview of what is Fresh Baguette, please.
Well, Fresh Baguette is a bakery. So now we have several, started with one and now we have five. A bakery that sells the best bread, the best croissant, pastries, and also baked goods. And a long list of savory items as well as coffee in the DMV area. We we have a team of talented bakers that makes every product from scratch, high quality. The bread is made with organic flour. We really elevated the quality of the bread and this kind of products in the DMV area. We started 9.5 years ago, and so now we start to be pretty well known.
I love it. I can't wait to get into what brought you into this business, Florent. But before that, obviously, I know you're not from around the DMV area. Where are you from originally?
Well, originally I'm from France. I'm from Dijon in France. But I was in the military before. I spent 23 years in the French Navy. I was flying
Oh, wow.
helicopters. Yeah, so very different jobs. And yeah, I spent a lot of time at sea. And I happened to be to serve as a naval attaché to the Embassy of France. So I lived in Washington, D.C. during 3 years, from 2005 to 2008. So that's how I discovered this great country. And when I was back in Paris, I knew I was an entrepreneur and I had to do something. So I purchased a business in Dijon, in France, where I was selling some bakery equipment, making repairs, installations, and I was designing bakeries, 8 to 10 bakeries for my customers in France. In France there are plenty of bakeries. Every block has almost every block has a bakery.
Yeah.
So that's how I entered this kind of business, and then I knew that there were no great bakeries in Washington, and I was capable of making them. So that's how the whole started. And in 2013, so 9.5 years ago, I've been able to open our first bakery in Bethesda, Maryland. And from the beginning, it has been successful.
Florent, you said you're from Dijon in France?
That's correct.
Okay. So in France, where would that be located? Let's say, is it sort of north, south, east, west? Where would it be?
Well, it's starting from Paris. It's
Uh-huh.
on the east part and slightly south.
Okay.
Uh, I mean, everybody has heard about Burgundy, at least for the wine, and Dijon is the capital city of Burgundy. And also everybody knows mustard from Dijon. So at least the name is known. But basically, it's a place where Burgundy wine is located, and also the mustard.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, I love France. I've been to Paris, and we did our honeymoon. Part of it was the south of France, and we loved it
Oh,
so much that my wife and I went there back to the south of France. We mostly stayed in Nice and the coast there a couple of years ago. So it's a beautiful country. I've never visited where you're from, though. That's why I was asking where is it
well,
located.
it's certainly an opportunity for another trip because it's also fantastic. Yeah.
By the way, so how was it growing up in Dijon? Like, what if you can remember back then? What were you into? What did you like?
Well, I'm really, this city is fantastic, pretty wealthy because of all the wine around. So it was my business was pretty successful because I was building bakeries, and people had the money to invest in the bakery, so it was pretty comfortable. And also I had 400 bakers as customers for maintenance and
Uh,
repairs. So I was meeting them, and you just driving on these small roads from one village to the other is just something extraordinary. It's you see all these old old places with a lot of historical sites and wealthy bakeries. So it was a good time. I could have said my business was working well. I was paying my loan back because I had, yeah, borrowed some money to purchase a business. Everything was really good, but I love the US so much. I knew there were a great opportunity here, so that's what little by little brought me here. So we started Bethesda, and then it was so successful that I eventually sold my business in France.
Okay.
We raised some more money, and we built this place where I am now in Rockville. So large commissary, 10,000 square feet,
Wow.
and another retail store where I am now, and then we expanded further.
Now you mentioned the 10,000 square foot. Is that your main kitchen there? Is that your hub where you bake everything?
Yes, it is. So 10,000 square feet. We, to be very frank, we going further. So we are now building another place, another commissary, 30,000 square feet.
Wow.
We'll keep this one, and we will add the 30,000 to it. So we are multiplying by 4 our production capabilities now. And we believe we can make 25 bakeries in the Washington, D.C. area, thanks to these new capabilities. So the plan is to make 3 bakeries per year. So we will have another one. We will have another one by the end of the year, and then 3 per year starting 2024.
That's amazing. Congratulations. Where's the big one? Where's the 30,000 square foot located?
It's in Germantown,
Okay.
Maryland. Yeah, so
Okay.
something like 10 miles from here. It was pretty difficult to find the right place,
Yeah.
especially looking for warehouses was difficult recently, but
Mhm.
we found, so we're happy. We are in the building phase. We should start operating in September, the new commissary.
That's great. You mentioned you loved America when you were back in Dijon running your successful business. What I'm sure you had visit here before. What was it about America that you love so much?
Well, I've been many times to the US before, of course. Well, there are many things I like. First, I like the people. I think the American people are usually very open, and it's very easy to start having good relations, funny relations with.
Hmm.
Especially in the Washington, D.C. area. I believe most of the people have already traveled around the world. We just
Hmm.
we're just meeting for the first time, and you tell me you've been to France. That's a good example. And many people have traveled here, so they are kind of open-mindedness that is really nice. And especially there are many international organizations, so people have great experiences from all over the world. That's one point. Another point I love in the US is the entrepreneurial spirit. Um, it's the laws are not too complex, and it's pretty simple to start a business here. And if it works, you grow, and if it continues to work, you grow further. So the laws are pretty business friendly, and this is something that any entrepreneur loves.
Yeah. Very, very different how business is conducted in France compared to the United States.
Well, I think it's simpler.
Okay.
Business is always business. Business
Hmm.
business is always a matter of trust. So you have it's between the people. If the trust is there, the business can be done. And I think you have trustworthy people everywhere in France, like in the US. The difference doesn't come from there, but the laws are the code. The laws are a little bit simpler here. I'm very frank. We talk about taxation once a year with my CPA, and the rest of the time I'm concentrated on the business.
Sure.
Okay, once a year we have to make a tax return and to pay our share for the taxes, but that's only once a year, and the rest of your time you work. I think in Europe we have so many laws, we have so many forms to fill. We are always weathering the taxes.
Yes.
And while you do that, you don't do your work, so you don't grow your business. That's a little bit the difference. But otherwise, yeah, like I said, business is always based on trust. and that's and there are a lot of trustworthy people here, and that's what I like to do. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned as far as Washington, D.C. I agree with you. I grew up in this area, and it is a very multicultural, international city and town. I even remember having a conversation with someone else who lived in Europe, who's from Europe, and moved to D.C. And we were talking, and he was telling me how he loves D.C. It reminds him there's a lot of beautiful cities and towns in America, of course, but D.C. reminds him so much of Europe with the architecture and the feel and the design, which you don't see in many other cities and towns in America.
Yeah, it's a little like Paris, and it has been designed by L'Enfant. It was a French
Exactly.
architect inspired by the Allée de Versailles and the Champ de Mars. I mean, places I'm very familiar with in Paris. So yeah, you feel a little bit like in Europe, and like I said, people have traveled a lot, so you always find people who have experience from many places. Now, it's really a nice place, and all these museums, all the cultural activity, it's a great city. Personally, I've been to many cities in the US, but I think this is the one I like the best.
That's good. What made you exactly come to DC area? Was it something specifically that you moved to this specific region, this area?
Well, like I said, I happen to be naval attaché to the Embassy of France, so I had been stationed during 3 years in
Oh, the
DC.
embassy.
So this was the
Hmm.
place I knew, and that was a
Sure.
good reason to come there. And so we started in Bethesda also because of the French community. There is a French international school there, so I knew that I would get the French customers first because they were looking for good bread. But now we have five bakeries, and people, our customers are from everywhere.
Lauren, if I can take you back 9.5 years ago, when you see that there's not a lot of French bakeries, what you had in mind, and you have the idea of opening one. Very obviously, business is different here compared to France, but how was that first year? If you can remember, opening up the business, letting people know, hey, here I am, please come in.
Well, it was difficult for many reasons. For the construction was a little bit difficult because of the differences between France and the US. So I had some pretty good technical background because I was building bakeries in France. So I was building years. I was not impressed by the work to be done, but the code is different, the rules are different. Everything costs a little bit more money, so it was
Took a little longer too, I'm sure, right?
a little longer too. So your cash starts from a certain level, and months after months, because at the beginning you don't have any revenue, so the months after months the money is going downwards. So you have always a little bit of stress. But then when we've been able to open, to pass all the inspections and to open, we had actually a lot of people waiting for this moment in Bethesda. So it took 3 months to break even, which
Wow.
was very good. I expected more time.
Yeah, it is very
Uh,
good.
and then, I mean, you're making more cash, and the situation is just improving.
Did you
And then I had
do?
to,
Mhm.
yeah,
Go ahead.
and yeah, I was still living in France. That was part of the complexity because my French business was, I mean, paying my salary. So at the beginning, yeah, I had to grow the US business enough to be able to move. And the good thing is I had a friend, his name is Bertrand, and he was available at that time between two jobs, I would say. And he offered to help me, and we eventually we partnered, and he's still working with me today, so 10 years later.
Oh,
So
wow.
that was very helpful. And so we passed this first year um, eventually pretty well. I mean, we 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 made $680,000 the first year. It was a good start. I think last year we were at 12 million. You see the difference,
Mhm.
but we grew fast.
That's amazing. You said when you opened the demand was already there just because of the French community in Bethesda. Did you do anything differently even now or even before as far as marketing to get the attention, let people know that I'm here, I'm in Rockville, I'm in Virginia.
Yeah, that's totally right. Now we grew much. I mean, we go fast now. We have 139 people in the business. So we have a marketing team, and now when we open a new bakery, uh, I mean, we create the excitation. Everybody, there is the last one we opened was in McLean. We had probably 600 feet long line of people queuing for the grand opening. So it's different now. I mean, yeah, we with the capabilities we have now, it's very different.
I can already picture, you said you want 25 of them. I can see that, and I think it's very much needed in this market.
Yeah, I think there is a need for good products, and especially what we've done this year is we've created a coffee subscription. So we help our customers to fight inflation, and so we have an offer for $9.95 a month. They have almost unlimited coffee. It's not unlimited. It's up to five coffees a day, and one coffee they can redeem one coffee every 45 minutes. So we basically for $9.95 a month, we offer the coffee, any coffee, cappuccino, latte, espresso. So people come more and more. We started in February. We have an increase of 37% of the number of customers entering our stores. So yeah, people come and come and come more and more. So yeah, I'm very confident about the 25 bakeries we're going to make.
I love this idea, Florent. So $9.99 a month, you said, right?
Yeah,
And people go to any of your locations
absolutely.
and up to 5 copies per day.
Yeah, that's a lot already. Yeah. Yeah, the only caveat, they have to wait 45 minutes between two
Sure.
coffees. It's just to avoid that a group of five comes and takes five coffees. Normally it's one coffees
Sure.
for one subscriber. But so now we have a lot of people coming every day to grab a coffee. And of course, when they see the quality of the products, they buy many products aside from the coffee, which is what we wanted. But many people thank us because like we say or they say we help
Mhm.
fighting inflation.
Yeah.
I mean, $9.95 a month for coffee, that's totally fine.
Yeah, that's a fantastic deal if you're a big coffee lover.
And it's very good coffee we offer. I mean, it's Peach Coffee, great brand. So we're happy to do that. Yeah.
And you said you've noticed an increase of over 30% of people coming into those stores, right?
Yeah. So we just started. We started in February.
Okay.
But our initial figures that we have now it shows a 37% of increase.
And I'm sure that also increased the other products, the bread and other pastries and other items you're selling in the store besides the coffee, right?
Yeah, well, when people see all these products, they buy. So, and we're happy for them. We're happy for the business. I think it's great, great kind of marketing innovation. Yeah.
It is. I have to ask, who thought about this? This is an amazing idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea that we had 2 years ago, and it took 2 years to implement it.
Okay.
Because it looks simple, but we had to create an application and people register on the phone, and so the app knows who has paid the subscription, and the app calculates the 45 minutes. So the way we did it is very simple for the staff because they just receive the order and they prepare the coffee, but they don't have to spend time checking the identity of the person, checking he has subscribed, checking the 45 minutes. So we had to go through the app, and this is why it took 2 years. But we're very happy to be there.
That's great. I'm so happy to hear that. And it's a brilliant idea. So great for you and the team who thought
Yeah,
about
thank
it.
you. Mm.
What would you say, Florent, that drives you and motivates you now?
Well, um, what motivates me is first the team here. It's pretty hard to prepare the food every day, and so you have to have to share the passion with the team, and these people, especially the young managers, we have young bakers, young logistic guys. Also, we have we have GMs, which are very dedicated in our different bakeries. I mean, the first is a relation with them. Uh, that's what drives me, and I'm very happy every morning to go at work. It's just because of the people first, and also, I mean, I'm proud of having a successful business. It works well, we grow, so I'm happy to say that also. In the military, usually you change every 2 or 3 years. You get a new position. So over time, you see a lot of different situations. And at Fresh Baguette, it's also true, not because I get a new job, but because the company is growing. So the way you manage a very small business when you start with a team of 7 or 8 people is very different. Today we have almost 140 people, and I think we'll be over 250 in 3-4 years. So it's different kind of management. Now I'm more managing managers and making sure that we implement strong processes everywhere. So very different from the beginning. But yeah, so that drives me too. And of course, what's great in this business is that we put some smiles on on the customer's face. They come, they are happy, they come back, they're happy, they share their experience, and it's very gratifying when you make people happy. It makes me happy.
Yeah. Speaking of your team and obviously the importance of it, because without them, none of this would basically be possible.
No.
How do you go about finding the right people? Because talking to other business owners, a lot of them, that's what they're currently having difficulties now in the job market, finding the right people to grow the business and grow the team.
Well, it's a permanent challenge. I don't have the magic recipe. I would be happy to share it. We we for the production, we hired most of the talents from France because it's difficult to find trained bakers here, trained pastry chefs. So the talents come from most of them from France for the managers. For logistics, we hired a pretty young manager from UPS. He's 26 or 27 years old and he's very talented. So he thought about the best way to organize the logistics. We have to deliver our pastries to our 5 stores, but also we deliver to 200 wholesale customers. So every night we make more than around 200 deliveries. That's a lot, and this is growing. So the mastermind is a young, talented American manager from UPS. I don't have the recipe about how I recruit them. That's every case is different, but I can tell you we make everything to retain. So we have an HR policy where we focus on their own training. We make sure that they have a kind of a path where step by step they are developing their own skills, and and for the most talented ones, those who can transform the business, we offer them the possibility to partner.
Oh, that's great. Partner so in that location, in that.
To partner, I mean, with the business Fresh Baguette. So they have, the world, they have some shares.
Yeah, that's great. I didn't know you brought in pastry chefs from France. That's good.
Yeah, that's good. We had one very talented US pastry chef, but she had to leave. I mean, she was building her own business with her husband, and so she left the DMV area. But otherwise, yeah, these kind of talents are easier to find in France.
The 200 wholesale customers you mentioned, I assume they're all local stores in the area?
Yeah, so to be more precise, it's around 150 customers, but it's 200 delivery addresses because some have Some are, for instance, coffee shops. They have several locations. So it's, but yeah, we deliver around 200 addresses uh, almost every night. So it's, I mean, we deliver every night almost these 200, almost this number of addresses. So, and it's mostly coffee shops. It's also hotels, restaurants, a few business clubs. But that's a lot, yeah. So every night we bake fresh, we pack, we drive. So we have 9 delivery routes around DC, and our name is Fresh Baguette. So we want to deliver as late as possible the freshest product as possible. So everything is done during the night before.
Florent, you mentioned you were in the Navy for over 20 years in France, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
In aviation, flying helicopters. What did you learn during that time in the Navy that you have since taken and used in your business?
Actually, I learned a lot. I learned some management skills. I mean, motivating a team. That's very important. And sometimes in the Navy, it's long. The operations last for weeks and weeks and weeks. No, you stay at sea, and some crew members have the tendency to have the motivation going slightly down, and you always have to give sense to what is being done, show that what we're doing is useful, and motivate. So that's something I learned in the Navy. Another very useful thing is that a ship is a concentration of equipment, and when we have equipment, you always have some technical issues, technical failures. I was always passionate by technical stuff, so I've learned to solve problems a lot, technical issues. So, and in a bakery, that's pretty much the same. There is a lot of equipment, a lot of refrigeration, a lot of equipment to mix the dough, to move the dough, to shape the dough, to bake the dough, and not only the dough. I mean, you have plenty of equipment, and so we have also some technical issues. Especially at the beginning, I was able to solve, I think, most of them or all of them by myself. Now we have a maintenance team, but it's very useful to have some technical knowledge when you have this kind of activity.
Yeah, no, that's great. If someone were to start any business, any type of business, and they came to you and said, Florent, what piece of advice would you give me for starting this business? What are a few things you would advise and tell that person?
Well, the first advice is to recruit the best people around you. I mean, having a business doesn't mean you are able to do everything. So it's more, you have to stay humble and say that it's the people around you that will make most of the work. So you have to make sure you go well along with them, you share your motivation, and yeah, and mostly that's it. When you have the right team, the business works. That would be the advice number one.
So it's always going back to that team and the importance of it. I love that.
Yeah. And I'm very frank. It's what motivates me. It's having the right people, finding the right people. I like hiring people and interviewing people, making sure that they are a good fit. And I like working with the people. So it's basically it's a matter of having relations with the people.
Sure. Speaking about hiring and people, is there any process that you personally do as far as when picking the right person? Obviously, it depends on the position and role, but is there a probationary period? Do you see quickly whether this person will be a good fit in this role or not? And how do you handle all that?
Yeah, we at Fresh Baguette we see that very few people leave the business after 3 months. So people leave during the first 3 months, or they stay for 3 years or more. So that shows that we detect pretty quickly if it's the people are a good fit or not. So we try now. We would like to bring this period of 3 months to 2 months, and ideally one day 1 month. But very clearly, those who stay 3 months stay for very long.
Okay.
So that's what we observed. Yeah, I think over the last year, I'm not sure there is even one single manager who left. No, see, there were one, but very few managers leave the business. So I think the management team is very motivated now. And but this is always fragile, you have to make sure it stays.
Yes. Is there any specific habits or traits you feel that you have that have helped you in the business or even just for you personally?
Well, one thing we're doing that's was one idea we had among the management team is to we we give a $50 gift card to for every anniversary at work, and this increased by $50 every year. And so when you have an employee who's been here for 1 year, he's offered by his manager a $50 gift card,
Hmm.
and in front of all the team, so everyone is congratulating. He gets the applause of the team, and the year after it's $100, and the year after 150. So people talk about a few more months, and we get this anniversary. We celebrate the time spent at Fresh Baguette, and I think this has been very helpful to retain the people. It's just one example among others, but it creates an atmosphere where people are happy at Fresh Baguette. People are thanked for their good work, and year after year, I mean, they deserve good a good reward, because after 4 years, you get $200. It's nice anniversary.
Yeah, it's great. I agree. I mean, if you're here for 10 years, that's a nice gift card.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you're going on to 10 years, so you're going to be having a nice one.
Yeah, although I don't take one for myself, but
I know, I'm
but I'm
sure.
very happy to reach these 10 years. Absolutely.
What would you say is your biggest challenge in your role today?
I think for me, the biggest challenge is the next steps. And we we are investing $4 million to build this new commissary. That's a lot. So we have to make sure that this money is well spent, that the commissary will be operational in September. With every construction project, there is some risk. And also, I'm pretty much focused on finding the locations for the next bakeries we're going to build. So we found already one on Connecticut Avenue in DC. We are negotiating a few other places for 2024. Yeah, my concern is always looking at the future, making sure we keep this sustained growth. And also, I want the business to self-finance the growth. So we have to be very careful with the numbers. And yeah, and like I said, with the team. But yeah, mostly I'm focused on the future, on the strategic evolution of the company.
Is that how most of the growth has been happening so far? Florent has been self-financed through the business, or I don't know if there's investors or banks, lenders.
No, we have almost no debt from the bank. We finance mostly by, I mean, the retail bakeries that we're building are financed by the cash generated by the business. And we raise some money to finance the next commissary,
Hmm.
because this is, a huge step. So we raise some money to finance it. But the retail stores, the retail bakeries are self-financed. We generate enough cash to build them.
You mentioned the new retail store that's going to open soon, hopefully in Connecticut Avenue, and the growth. What do you look for? I'm curious as far as future locations. Is there certain demographics, certain size? What do you like to see in the area?
Yeah, in terms of size, we look for around 2,000 square feet. We want the place to be really visible, highly visible, and we're looking for places with a dense foot traffic. This is what helps best for business. Um, so these are the kind of allocation we're looking for. Yeah, ideally, if it's in a corner, it makes the place even more visible. Yeah, and So we opened a place in Alexandria on King Street in a corner, dense foot traffic. This has been a great fit.
That's great. Out of all the locations you have so far, which one is the busiest, you would say?
Well, the two busiest locations are Bethesda. Bethesda is not very visible. I mean, a little bit, but
Hmm.
it's because of our history. We started 9.5 years ago, so everybody knows the place now, and so that's why it's very busy. And Alexandria, because of the foot traffic, is almost at the same level
Okay,
after 14 or 15 months. So
that's great.
I predict that Alexandria will overshoot Bethesda one day. Um, but so we're looking now more for foot traffic because it creates a lot of business.
Sure. It makes complete sense. What do you know now, Florent, that you wish you would have known at the start of your business career?
That's a good question. Actually, I think I was not completely aware of the complexity of the code construction, and yeah, the initial business was a little bit at risk because of this. Um, Now the advice I give is that when you have a project in the US, you always should foresee a little bit more cash than what you would foresee somewhere else, because the cash is going away very, very quickly in this country. So that's what I would recommend. For the rest, uh, you have to trust the idea you have from the beginning, and rely on the right people, and eventually it works. No way that it doesn't work. If you work hard, it works.
Yeah. But by the way, how often do you go to France to visit? I know you have chefs that come there, but do you go often back home?
Yes, I go 2 or 3 times a year
Okay.
um, to visit my family. Most of the time, also to meet some people. Usually there is a link to Fresh Baguette. I want to meet a chef that might come and join us, or I meet a few equipment suppliers, or yeah. But yes, I go 2 3 times a year.
Okay. When you hear the word success, what do you think of? What does that mean to you?
The success from Fresh Baguette for
Success just in general. It can be for the business, it can be just for you personally, family. It doesn't, when you just hear the word success, what's the meaning that comes to mind first?
for me, success is a balanced life. It's a balanced life where, for sure, um, business is a part of it, but it's also a balanced life with your family. You have to be able to dedicate some time, some quality time with your loved ones, and not and yeah. So work is one part, but I would say really a balanced life.
Okay. I know you had experience in France with dealing with bakeries and everything else before you opened the one here in Bethesda. Is there any mentors you've had along your journey that have helped you? And if so, what did you learn from them?
Well, I had a mentor in France called Jean-Pierre. He had created a very successful business. It was more an industrial business. He was making some gaskets for all kind of ovens, and he. But that's it was more a mentor about how to start a business abroad. He had started several activities in several countries in the world, and yeah, his advice were really useful about recruiting talented people. And he said when you are doing some business abroad, more than in other any situation, you need to trust the people you work with. It's a little bit more complicated because sometimes there are some cultural differences. So this is where you have to pay your attention, and this is how you will become successful. And it's also someone who was experienced, and I could share all the difficulties, because you have challenges when you start a business from nothing. And he was always very encouraging and supporting. So, and he invested also into Fresh Baguette, but mostly it was not his money; it was his advice that was very important for me. Yeah,
Okay.
and it's important, I think, when you go on your own way, to have people you trust that can just help you making the good decisions.
Yeah, no, that's very
And
true.
and aside from that, I said I partner with my friend Bertrand, and he's also very experienced, so he brought a lot of capabilities, and now we have these talented managers. We have 5 other managers who are partnering with us, and they are young, but they work hard, and they help also finding the right way ahead. But I cannot talk about them as mentors, but altogether we're a great team.
That's great. You know, with business, there's good times, then there's some bad times, there are ups and downs. What is a setback, or what was your favorite failure, and what did you learn from that?
Well, we many failures, but I think one thing I learned is when you grow a business, especially bakery. Uh, I think I had a failure when we went from Bethesda to Rockville, to allocate the same portion of refrigeration area. And in fact, when you grow, you need much more refrigeration in proportion. So that's one failure. I think one other challenge that we had was the COVID years. That was very difficult because we have 2 activities, wholesale and retail, and we lost 80% of our wholesale activity, which was half of our business. All the coffee shops I mentioned, the hotels, restaurants, they were all closed. So that was terrifying. And so we've been working very hard. We've been able to onboard the Mom's Organic Market. You know the organic supermarkets, and we've made some organic bread for them. So, but in 2 months, we've been able to get the right flour, get the right recipes, starting making bread for them, and getting these 18 supermarkets. And by chance, while the wholesale business was going down, the retail activity went up during the COVID. So eventually, we started losing 80% of our customers, and at the end of the year, at the end result, we grew during the COVID year by 5%. It was not a terrific growth, but it was growth during COVID that was really great.
Wow, I didn't know that. So you lost 80% and the end you ended up positive 5%. And
Yeah.
Okay. That's
Yeah, because we
interesting.
onboarded the supermarkets, and then the retail activity went up by 35%, and at the end of the year, all the previous customers were coming back, and we kept moms, and we're still working with moms today. So we transformed this very difficult time into success.
Well, that's good.
But
I'm happy to hear that.
yeah, it has been challenging. I want to be honest. It has been very challenging.
Coming to an end here soon, Florent. When you're not busy working, what do you like to do for fun in your free time?
Well, I'm pretty busy working, but I have a boat on the Chesapeake Bay, and that's the old Navy guy, and I love going even for a few hours on the Chesapeake Bay and just enjoying being over the water and fishing.
Is that your favorite place to be besides, of course, one of your stores?
Oh yeah, yeah. I was there doing on Sunday again, and no, it's very relaxing to be at sea, to see these splendid places, and to just disconnect a little bit from the business.
That's great. Florent, is there anything I didn't ask that I should have asked?
No, I think your questions were very good, and no, maybe what I can talk about is a new activity that we've launched in January, which is a catering. So people are coming back at work now. They have many events with their customers or with their team, and now we deliver meals for 30, 40, 50, 100 people everywhere 20 miles around DC. We can very easily order from the website, and that's new. That's working very well. We had an event last week and for 300 or 400 people. So we're doing catering, and that's new. That's very successful. I think it's important to share it if some people are interested potentially to
That's
have good
great.
food, great sandwiches, good desserts. So you can host some events or even just a party of 15, 20 people or meeting with coworkers. It creates a great difference.
And for this catering business, which is fresh, you said you started in January. Were people knowing just from your website that you started to do catering, or did you have to go out to the marketplace and let people know that this is a new thing that you're doing?
Our marketing team communicated on that, and that's how it started, and it starts very well. We also go through a few platforms like EasyCater, but the best and the cheapest is to go directly on the website. Apologize.
Bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
Now, I have to ask, what is your favorite coffee and item to get in your store?
Oh, so you said favorite coffee?
For you, yes. Which one?
Yeah.
Which is your favorite coffee and item to get in your store?
Well, I love the espresso because I'm a coffee lover, and I think with espresso you taste a little bit more the real taste of the coffee. So usually I prefer espresso as other kind of coffees, and I take the time to drink it very slowly. For the food items, we have different categories of food. For the bread, I love the traditional baguette. It's made with sourdough, so you have also the taste of the sourdough, and it's always very fresh. So usually I eat some baguette almost every day. I can say every day. But we have also great croissant, chocolate croissant, and with the coffee, having the chocolate croissant is just a fantastic experience.
It is the best. I just now that you mentioned that, it reminds me of just a cafe in Paris. In the morning, I would go with my wife, our coffee outside with a croissant, and it was amazing.
Yeah, and we also have pastries, so patisseries. We have an array of patisserie. We have what else? And now we have more and more savory items. At the end of the month, we're going to launch. So at the end of May, we're going to launch even more savory items. Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
That's
So it will
nice.
be a very good place for having lunch and buy desserts to bring home.
That's great. Florent, if people want to learn more about you and Fresh Baguette, where can they go to, please, get more information?
Well, it's easy to go on our website, freshbaguette.com, or come to any of our bakery. You will be very welcome, and I think it's a good start to get coffee subscription for $9.95 a month and test our product. Each time you redeem a coffee, you buy a product, you just enjoy.
Yeah. No, it is a great deal. I think it's a great deal. I have to ask, with all these locations and more expanding, how does your typical day look like? I'm sure it varies every day, but do you have a specific routine as visits, and what do you like to do?
I want to go once a week to each of our place. It's difficult. It's difficult because with the growth plan we have, there is so many appointments, so many difficulties here and there that we have to overcome. But yes, the plan is to go to every location every week and try to also spend some time with every manager every week, at least to make sure that I hear the feedback, the difficulties, the challenges, and help finding solutions for each of them.
That's great. Everyone, please go visit Fresh Baguette. Florent said the website, freshbaguette.com. Florent, thank you so much for taking the time out today and joining us.
Thank you, Otto. Thank you so much. It was
Take care.
great to have the opportunity to talk about Fresh Baguette. Thank you.
Thank you.